Hello, happy Saturday or happy Sunday, depending on when you're watching this. How are you today? Happy anniversary to me. 2 years ago, I moved to Texas, and there's a funny thing. About 3 years ago, I came here and I said, "Oh, Texas is going to be the next big thing," and I decided to come here. And I'm happy to say, Texas is the next big thing. I came here with the hope of increasing business from here, and for the first 2 years, I definitely accomplished that, and it gets better. It gets better every year, and I hope that to continue. Whether you love me or hate me, Texans, this Yankee's going to probably die here and get buried with his boots on. So hopefully, we can make it produce better for all of us and going forward. So that's all I got to say about that. I love Texas. Really, 3 days of winter, great weather. Texas values suit me real good, real well. I love Texas values, kind of in conjunction with my values, so it works. God, family, and country. I mean, well, can't forget guns either. Okay. I read an interesting article. It's a survey this week. I'm sorry I couldn't find the link after I read it, but it said that the survey said that consumers are not going to buy as much online after the grocery online after this pandemic is over, which is counter to what I believe. So without knowing actually how they ask the questions, questions could be leading, or maybe people just cooped up and they're thinking about it in the now. I just can't see how this doesn't increase online grocery, except if people were, very disappointed with the options. So that's really up to the company, because I really believe brick and mortar retail is definitely going to change, and it's from these the people that found new ways to do business, based on survival. They the food service distributors had to survive, and they came up with box programs. I've talked about that a lot, and I really believe anybody that can deliver value, great produce, value, and deliver it to their door, and most important, wow the consumer. In other words, pick out stuff like they picked out or better. That's the way forward. And I like a couple of my own ideas where supply and demand boxes. So if something is cheap, you throw that in there, and you give a great value. So if you usually gave 2 pounds of squash and the squash market is cheap, you get 4 pounds of squash or something like that. So or just add it at an extra item. I could talk about that another time. So again, I don't know if that survey is wrong, right. I just don't see that. I see that this is going to exponentially increase online grocery for the people that do it right. And the people that don't do it right, you've been a failure in retail, you'll be a failure in that too. It all starts with the quality of produce, and then the price and the value to the consumer. What are a few things that we learned during this? I was actually thinking about a few of these things. I wrote a few down. You found out that grocery workers, retail workers, doctors, nurses are essential, and sports figures and actors are not. And you could throw 435 congressmen and women into that picture, because they haven't been working for a while either, so I guess they're non-essential either. Another thing I thought about is seems like a lot of trucks delivered a lot of essential items with no ELD restrictions, and they got it there safely, quicker, on time, with less accidents. So maybe we don't need those ELD restrictions, just a thought. What else? People found out what was important. I mentioned this a few times, everybody hopefully you'll love your family more now, but family, health, God, country, that became safety. Those all became paramount. And, take a step back and you find out what's important. I know I did. And I really enjoyed having my boys home all the time. I mentioned to my oldest son my oldest son here. I have an older son in New Jersey, but my oldest son here is an electrician, so he's essential. He went to work every day, and like 10 hours a day. So he's. Another thing is produce supply chain is strong. There was never a shortage of produce. In fact, on the contrary, we had to dump stuff. So produce people and how about competitors forged alliances to make it better for everyone? I mean, I love produce people. I have today, if you notice on the top of the thing, it's 5 A's and 4 P's. What's that 5 A's? America and Americans are awesome, 5 A's. And produce people. Produce people. I forgot what I wrote, but it'll come to me again. Just I told you I get old. I'm old. Produce people what? Produce people produce perfect. Oh, that's right. Produce people produce perfectly. So those are my 5 A's and 4 P's. And markets. We got to talk about markets. Red peppers, green peppers still tight. I told you on Wednesday, we're going to start in California, anywhere from the 5th to the 15th, which is a little early, but they've had decent weather, so that's going to help. Green peppers, I think there'll be more coming out of the south in another week, but right now it's still the California deal, and some new Mexican crops are starting on this side, so you'll have taken a little bit of the edge off there. Eggplants, the same thing. It's I think the edge is off a little bit, but they're still tight. But we're also going into the first of the month, and May. I love May, always did. I think there's going to be great business, and I know the weather on the East Coast today was awesome. Everybody was out. So, let me talk about something else. Today was 75 to 78 degrees. Watermelons are going to start moving. People that always say, Paulie, we're going to start moving watermelons. I always tell them the same thing. Most of my melons go to the East Coast. Call me when the weather is 80 degrees. 80 degrees sells watermelons. We're there. So we're going to start moving more watermelons to the East Coast. Cucumbers, I said that last week. I said it looked like it was going to be stronger. And then Wednesday I retracted that. I knew immediately the flush was here. Cuke's going to be very, very reasonable, so there'll be promotable volume, so go after it. Hard squashes are still trending in that, depending on, kabocha 16 to 18, butternut in that $18, $20 range, so all the hard squashes are still good. Roma tomatoes, we're going to start a new section, but there's really still not enough with the inspections and everything else. They're still in that $18 to $22 FOB range. So I don't see. Let's see, green and yellow squash, definitely stronger. Cleaning up real nice out west, and that's really all I have for you this week. Thank you, Texas, for making me and my family feel welcome. I appreciate that. Oh, I hope you all saw that thing I did on Steve Katzman. Okay, he hasn't stopped. Believe me, he's donating even to more and more people now. He's just an unbelievable man. But I got to tell you a couple of stories about Steve Katzman. I was in the helicopter with Steve Katzman, and he made Donald Trump move his helicopter. That's a true story. I was also with Steve Katzman on Donald Trump's jet, and he got a senator's son to get out of the back. Those are true stories. All right, Donald Trump wasn't the president then, but come on. It's still a great story. And those are two Two true stories. What happened? I lost myself for a second. My screensaver went on. Sorry about that. But yes, those are two. If I ever told you the whole story, that was a crazy weekend. But remember, love you, love the produce business. Produce people, you're the best. You're the absolute best. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. The week of the twos are over. We got the beginning of the month. The checks are here. You know, people got those. They're getting their Wix checks plus their other checks. I really think May is going to be a great month for produce. California fruit started. Always a big thing. Cherries. I'm pretty sure cherries are started. If not, they're going to start very soon. So it's a great time to be in the produce business. Take care. Be safe. Texas opened up a little bit. We're out all day today. Practice social distancing, but that's it. Love you. Love the produce business, and see you on Wednesday. Take care.